So now I want to move on to our next speaker. I took a lot of notes on her because she's pretty fascinating, and I was so excited to get to meet her this weekend. She is the founder of Shine School, which is a self-love course helping thousands of women awaken their authentic self and reclaim their power. She's the creator and author of The Shine from the Inside Oracle. She's the co-founder of the Elevated Life Membership Club, which is a group coaching for conscious CEOs. She was a top 20 soul coach in 2022. That is uniting and spreading the light, if I've ever heard it. She's a trailblazing lightworker, psychic medium, award-winning hairstylist, girl after my own heart, salon owner for 16 years, and that is no joke. Let me tell you, people, I've been in the industry for 20 years, and that is hard stuff. She is a luxury retreat host, and she is 99% unicorn, and you are going to see that when she walks on this stage. She is a spiritual truth teller, which I love, and she has an ability to make women feel beautiful inside and out. She's here to inspire a soul-filled life of purpose and passion and peacefulness and profit. Please give a warm, loud welcome for Brittany Carmichael.
What's wrong with being confident? What's wrong with being?
Hi! Hi! Hello, everyone. What an amazing crew. Y'all, pink-haired vegan psychic in Texas, y'all. I've been alone for a long time. So it feels so good to have this many amazing bright lights and souls in the room. Whew, I am just so blessed and honored. Big shout out to Christopher Witecki and the team at Serious Joy. Seriously. You know, it took one thing. It took a lot of things if you're a Virgo to get here, you know, like all the lists and the details, but it takes one thing in particular, and that's courage. It took courage for you to show up and say, I'm going to go by myself to this thing and meet people. It took courage for Christopher to say, I'm going to just pull this event out my Astro and just make it happen. So many years ago, I went to see this massage therapist, and she put her hand on my womb, and she said, oh, Britt, you're here to birth courage. And so I just want to say thank you and honor this room full of courage. Give yourself a round of applause. Okay, they told me to stay on time, so I'm going to do my best. Okay, so my accolades are kind of long. It sounds weird to hear back, like I've just been doing me. And that's the whole message of today, is I want to teach you how to build your empire as a light worker by just being yourself. You're a trailblazer. There's a reason why you're in this room today, and as light workers, we're here to create something that has never been created before. There's no blueprint for what we're about to do. That's why most of the psychics in the room are like, I can't see it, I don't know. It's because it's for you to decide. So if there's one thing I know about you, and it doesn't take me being a psychic medium to know this, is that you're that leader. You're the one that's meant to do the work. When we go into the elevators and we're all like, quiet, I want you to be the one that opens your heart and asks the question, hey, what are you passionate about? What are you into? What do you love? I want you to be the one that has the courage to start letting your walls down, taking the masks off, no longer people-pleasing, but doing it from a place of love. So it doesn't take me talking to all y'all's relatives to know that you are here for a very special reason, and that's why you're in this room today. Just trying to get the clicker. So about me, I'm a step 20 Libra. I've told some of you that in the elevators. They're like, oh yeah, I can see that. I can tell. For the last almost 20 years, I've owned a luxury vegan hair salon where I had the pleasure and also trauma of listening to how women think and feel about themselves. I thought I was just going to be a hairstylist. It turns out I'm a therapist. So in dealing with trying to make you look good on the outside, I learned that it really is about making you feel good from the inside. So all of that work led me to become an empowerment coach. I was doing the beautiful balayage, but you're still shit-talking yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm not. How many of you have ever talked bad about yourself, like to yourself? Exactly. So this work really led me to go beyond the balayage and the highlights and really get to the heart of everything. I've been featured on Good Morning Texas multiple times. I've been featured in Behind the Chair, Modern Salon, Hair Love University, lots of places as a hairstylist. I've also been featured on Serious Joy. So many of you have said, I've seen you on Astro Mingle. So thank you for that. And I also wanted to show this picture because this was one of the first times that Good Morning Texas asked me to come on stage and teach. And I got real nervous, and I looked at my husband, who happens to be a hypnotist, so I married my coach. And I said, babe, I am so nervous. Give me advice. Don't be my husband. Give me advice. Like, I need help. I'm about to pee myself. And he said, babe, just be yourself. And I snapped back so fast and said, but that's too easy. And that's when I realized we make it hard on ourselves. We try to overcomplicate, overthink, and all we have to do is just be. So I also, being married to a hypnotist, in that top right corner was the first time I ever got to speak on stage. And I'll never forget that time I yelled at him. I was getting ready for the salon one day, and he said, babe, I just had a vision of you. I said, what? He said, I see you on stage empowering women. And I yelled at him, no, I'm a hairdresser. I'm not going to do that. Why would you say that? I resisted my calling. How many of you are or have resisted Spirit's nudge? All of you can raise your hand, okay? So I was resisting Spirit's nudge. And when I was on that stage, if you'll pull that slide back up, when I was on that stage looking out at all the beautiful hairstylists in Zion National Park, Sam Villa, the top educator in our industry, was next after me. It hit me. I was like, oh, this is that moment. This is me on stage. This is me not resisting my calling. And here in the middle, you'll see this wild sound bowl. It says my Martha Stewart moment. I was on stage with Martha Stewart just last month. What the fuck? Playing sound bowls and channeling, okay? So at a planner conference. So I know that the light is coming. I know that we're here to shine. So I share all of this because I've had the opportunity to take on some incredible stages, and now we can add Unite the Light to it. But I haven't always been like this. I haven't always been energetic and vibrant and happy and joyful and on my own team. There was a time in my life where I was my own worst enemy. I was overweight, overworked, and honestly over it all. You'll see in this photo, I clearly have a thing for burnt orange fashion like Scott Cruz. And I have always beat to my own drum, as you can tell with the pink hair. But the difference between these two photos is one version of her wasn't on her own team. One version of her was constantly shit-talking herself, saying, you're not good enough, you're fat, you're never going to be this, blah, blah, blah. You guys know those stories that we tell ourselves, right? So I share this because it's so important to recognize that when you see people on stage or you see people running in leadership circles, that they too have gone to jail, okay? They have gone through hard traumas. They've gone through hard experiences in their life. The mistakes that I made, and anyone can relate, I tried to do it all by myself, control freak. I'm not even a Virgo. I didn't ask for help. And I have a feeling that you're like me. Are you the person that likes to give? I want to be the giver. I want to be the giver. So when we deny other people's gift of giving, then we stop that cycle of flow. I also didn't reflect on what I truly needed. What did I want? Who am I? What are my preferences? I also didn't stand up for my passions. Yes, I did hair and didn't go to college despite what my parents asked me to do, but I still was beating myself up. Even though I was still trying to I was following my own footsteps, but I was like fighting myself the whole way. I also didn't prioritize time for self-care. I didn't believe that I was worthy of receiving that. And in 2012, my mom had a massive stroke that paralyzed her. In that bottom photo, you can see back in 2012 when she was in a wheelchair, she couldn't speak. And I had just watched the documentary, The Secret. Anyone? I was like, oh, we create our reality. Why'd you do this to yourself, Mom? That's what I asked her when she finally learned how to talk again. I say Love and Led Zeppelin healed my mom because I just sat there with Love and played Led Zeppelin. And when she finally learned how to talk again, I said, Mom, why did you do this to yourself? And she said, because everybody needed something from me. Does anyone relate to that? Are you the person that everyone goes to and dumps all the things? Me as a hairstylist, I definitely was. I was trapped for 2 hours. I had nowhere to go. I had to listen. So when my mom had the massive stroke, Chris brought up the question earlier, the most important question you'll ever ask yourself, and that is, who am I? And so when I started to ask myself that question when my mom had the stroke, well, who am I? I'm following in the same footsteps as my mom. She's a hairdresser. She's an overgiver. She's overweight. Oh no, I don't want to have a stroke. So when I asked that question, who am I, it led me down a rabbit hole that has got me here. And that turned into crystals. And I had a woman sitting in my chair, and she brought a pendulum, and she said, here, try it, ask a question. And I asked the question, that thing took off like a helicopter. I dropped it and cried and was like, what just happened to me? In a float tank, when I was competing in CrossFit in 2012, I was, in a sensory deprivation, and my father from the other side started speaking to me. And that's when I realized, oh, I'm not crazy. Like, there's something going on here. So back in 2012 was my initial, come to conscious wake-up call. Like, okay, I cannot keep following in the same footsteps as my mom. I have to do something different. So, oh no, too far. Y'all, this is touchy. Okay. So after my shift, I have the confidence to put myself first and to take time for me when I need it. I never apologize for my boundaries, beliefs, or my behavior. Chris and I, many Easters ago, decided we just didn't feel like going, and he asked me a question that changed my life and built the philosophy of the elevated life. He said, babe, on a scale of 1 to 10, he's an Aquarius, so he's like numbers, On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you want to go? I was like a 6. I do not want to go right now. I just want to stay in my pajamas. And he said, babe, we're adults. We shouldn't do anything less than a 7 or above. This is going to be the best tool that you take away. You're going to be rating all your clients, all your friends, all your family, all your outfits. Like, is this a 7 or above? Because our life is short. We don't have that much time. I'm fully in alignment with my soul's highest calling, which allows me to live in abundance, not just of finance, but of opportunity, of connection and community. I finally feel at peace and fully trust myself to make a positive impact on the world instead of fighting and resisting. So that deep resistance that you feel towards spirit nudging you to surrender is actually the catapult of you taking a leap of faith. And that faith and trust that you build in yourself is going to be the power that you continue to move through the challenges and the obstacles, because they don't stop. No matter how evolved or enlightened or whatever the case is, it's just how you handle it. Okay, click, yes. So let's take it back to this cute little 200 square foot room where it all started, listening to women, how they think and feel. In my own life in 2012, I started cleaning up my diet. I wanted to eliminate the chemicals, which is why I had to get out of the hair salon. And I became vegan in 2012. And so I thought, well, if I own my own business, then who's to say I can't run a vegan hair salon? And a vegan hair salon in Texas is unheard of. Not today anymore. But back then, people were like, what the hell does that mean? And now the only clients that come to find our salon are looking for that specifically. So I know there's a change. I know that we need you to do that thing that you're passionate about. So I decided, switching from non-toxic chemicals, I needed to switch to non-toxic clients. The strippers paid really well, but it was very draining. Okay. So I started shifting the conversation, and I started asking a really important question to my clients, something that I was almost annoyed by when I asked my CrossFit coach, like, okay, if you could describe me, how would you describe me? And he said, Britt, you're passionate. I was like, that's lame. I was like, come on, give me something better. And then I realized that's a gift. That's a gift that so many of us have squashed and put into a box. So I started asking my clients, what are you passionate about? And 99% of the people said, I don't know. I don't know. And that really fucked me up. I was like, okay, let me get these highlights done, and let's talk about, what are you doing with your life? Where are you taking it? So with that being said, I learned that confidence is a choice. That I can make you look real good on the outside, but if you don't love yourself on the inside, if you're not on your own team, if you don't believe in yourself like Gary talked about, that belief in yourself, that belief that you're here for a reason, that Spirit is moving through you as a channel so you can co-create. This is one of the biggest lessons I learned. And so that led to one day, a good friend of mine, she sat down in my chair and she said, "Can I hire you as a coach, like not do my hair? Like, you mean I don't have to blow dry? I don't have to wash your hair? I can just tell you what to do?" Yes. Yes. So it was her courage. And in fact, I had courage to move my senior year. I wanted to reinvent myself my senior year. So I moved to a different school and I met that particular woman in my class who asked me to be a coach. So funny how things, when you look back at your journey, they all line up. So in 2012, I went to go see a psychic because I was like, what the fuck is happening to me? I can hear things, I know things, I feel things, I'm predicting things in my client's life. I don't understand what's happening. And when I went to go see her, plus a near-death experience with my husband in Colorado, I was like, something is happening. And when I went to go see her, she said, "Babe, you have the gift. Buy yourself some tarot cards." I was like, oh, I knew I was Miss Cleo. I knew it. Like, I knew it. So I bought myself the Morgan Greer deck, and she just told me, don't sleep with the tower and the devil together. I was like, I don't understand what that means. So that sent me on a journey of like, I got to figure this stuff out. So crystals to pendulums to chakra healing to tarot, and tarot became my tool of choice. And I've pulled a card every day for the last 12 years, and that turned into, well, let me pull cards for my clients. Let me see what comes up for them. I knew it was blowing my mind pulling the same card 3 days in a row, like, I am not listening. Here's my resistance. So when I started reading my cards for my clients, they're like, what is happening? How do you know this stuff? So I courageously decided to share that part of myself, and I had a lot of clients not come back. When I was like, what about your dad in the carousel? And she's like, nope, not talking. Radio silence the whole rest of the appointment. I was like, okay, I'm either crazy or I'm on it. And so I spent years practicing on my hair clients. And in fact, I started taking, one fun fact about me is that half the books on my shelf are spiritual and the other half is marketing. So I'm like, how do I get the message of the light and the woo into the world? Like, how do we blend the two together? And so reading tarot and started coaching, because what was happening is in my life, I was making major changes. I had asked that question, who am I? I'd lost 75 pounds. I'd healed a lot of my anger. I had practiced forgiveness. I'd let go of a lot of the sexual trauma and abuse that I grew up with. And so my clients are like, what's happening? You look different. You act different. You're not bitch-ny anymore. And so because I found myself constantly repeating myself, I realized that I needed to share the tools and the modalities from NLP to marrying a hypnotist, past life regressions, all the things that I was doing, cleaning up my diet, eating a whole food, plant-based diet. I started doing all these things, and my clients are like, what are you doing? Bringing journals to their appointment. So I realized that I got something here. So I realized I didn't want to repeat myself anymore. I was tired. And just standing behind the chair 4 people at a time is not enough to get your message out into the world. And so in 2014, I decided to go to a Brendan Burchard conference, and he taught Experts Academy, where you can take your knowledge online and put it into a program. So I literally was like, I'm a hairstylist with this idea. I have an idea of Shine School. I have an idea on how to empower women, the tools and the things that I keep repeating myself to help you reclaim your power. And so as I'm at this marketing conference, this lesson here is to do it before you're ready. I didn't have a program, but I did have an idea. So I sat down with all the notes on like how to write a funnel, how to sell, what's a sales page. And I started emailing all my hair clients as if they were like my marketing, so I had an audience, right? So all of my online business was an experiment on my hair clients. So I just encourage you, if you're in the transition, just practice on them. You're about to leave them anyway. Can you pull that slide back up? I was at the conference where they launched Kajabi. I didn't have anything. I had done a little bit of tarot reading, and in fact, the angels told me at one point, if you don't start charging for your readings, we're not going to give you any more information. So that kind of freaked me out. I was like, okay, I'm going to put a price tag on this, and I'm going to be for real. I'm going to offer this as a service. So it took me 2 years to build out Shine School because I was running a very successful salon and trying to maintain finding who I am, being a partner. And I built Shine School, and we've had 5,000 plus women go through the program so far, including Krista Marie Miller, who will be presenting tomorrow. So talk about a full circle moment. Had I not had the courage to step out from behind the chair and just start before I was ready, I don't know that either of us would be on the stage today. So thank you for trusting my vision of this journey. So I've built multiple courses over the time. I didn't want to put like 75 slides, but Shift was my newest one. In 2020, my guides were like, things are changing. How many times have they said shift up here? So many. I understand like the reference, but still, Spirit gave me this 5-step framework on how to navigate transformation and change with ease. So I started putting all of my information into courses. From there, I realized that I kept hearing the same story. Although I was repeating myself to every client, I started an online community called Shine Tribe Sisterhood because I knew I wasn't the only one out there. It's like I may be the only woo-woo here in Frisco, Texas, but I know I'm not the only one out there. And this phrase came up so many times, I feel alone. Anyone ever feel that way? Yeah. Girl, you raised your hand so fast. I'm so glad you're in this room. I'm so glad you're in this room. So that was the phrase that I kept hearing. So I wanted to do something about it. I was tired of hearing these amazing, badass women sit in my chair and be like, I'm doing this, but I just nobody gets me. So I found my love for astrology, the new and full moons. I was doing rituals in my own personal practice, and I decided I'm going to just put an event out there on Facebook and see if anyone wants to come do a full moon release ritual where we burn the bullshit, is what I call it. So that picture on the left was our very first gathering, and in fact, I was on a tarot call with a woman, and when she tuned in, I turned on the camera, and she was sitting on that pink chair, and I said, "Where are you?" She said, "I'm in my doula center." It's like, oh my God. Where? Dallas? Yes. Okay, can I host an event there? It's just so pretty. I have to, Libra, okay, step 20 Libra. So that pink couch is what inspired me to say, you know what, I'm gonna bring women together and I'm gonna do it in your place. And then, of course, in 2020, we had to go virtual. Everything shut down. And in fact, it was interesting because I'd already had the online community and that just grew. And I've done, like Gary was saying, for so long, I did these for free. I did them for free because I didn't want there to be a barrier to self-love, to self-care, to sisterhood connection, community. Thank you, thank you. Every marketing team I hired all the marketing teams for the Hay House people, and all of them are like, you're crazy. You need to start charging. I mean, even the angels yelled at me at one point, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. It has evolved because I've gotten extra. Those things do cost money. So I wanted to just share this. Last slide right here is about staying consistent. There was one Halloween I threw one, and only 2 people showed up. And how many of you might get distraught by that? Feel like, oh, I didn't do enough. I'm not good enough. Those 2 people were divorcing a narcissist, and they had the exact same marriage anniversary. I knew Spirit wanted them in that room for a reason. We've been doing this for about 6 or 7 years now, and we've evolved to hundreds of women. We've had thousands of women come through this goddess gathering experience. And what I realized, like you said earlier, is when you put people in the same room together with an open heart and a similar mission, magic happens very fast. So I cannot wait to see what happens after this weekend. So my encouragement to you is to just keep going. Even if 2 people show up, those 2 people you can impact. Don't judge yourself based on the number, but how you show up and the quality of heart that you bring to it. So after thousands of these women have come to these 3-hour burn the bullshit events, they were like, Britt, we need to do this longer. We had young women, young high school girls with warts on their hand burning that they want to let go of their lack of self-confidence. By the next thing, they came back with no warts. We had a woman come in a walker paralyzed with cancer, and by the end of it, she got up and walked out. I was like, get your walker, please. So, and I grew up, I had a Christian prophetic musician dad, so I grew up religious, and then I met my Aquarian husband, and he's like, here, read some books. And so it sent me on a big journey to start understanding the difference between what is religion, what is spirituality, and how do they blend together. And so watching these women heal and having that experience in the church as a kid, I'm like, something is happening in this room, something magical, something palpable. If you could pull the slides back up. So women started asking, like, can we do this more? Can we do it longer? And so I love bougie travel. And so I thought, why not? If I've been building my life and my business based around my passions and my skills and what comes easy to me, why not start bringing people together for 7 days and doing healing retreats? And that is what has been the basis of how this Lightworker empire has been built. It's one nudge at a time, one question at a time, one person saying, hey, will you coach me? Okay, sure. I also didn't mention that I am the founder and creator of the Shine from the Inside Oracle, which Christopher's been pulling in his Psychic 101, so thank you for that. All of this was because Chris said, well, okay, you get someone to go through your course, but they still don't change, right? That came up in conversation. How do we get them to change? Okay, well, I've pulled tarot cards for the last 12 years. That's what I've been most consistent with, so I'm going to bridge the gap. Someone mentioned earlier, how do we bridge the woo-woo and the muggles together? And so I created the Shine from the Inside Oracle deck, and that was, again, someone asking and prompting. I guarantee you have the answer to your next step. You're just waiting for step 100 because you think you need all 75, or 100 steps in a row. You just need the next nudge and the courage to go after it. So I started hosting these beautiful women's retreat, and we just wrapped up our 7th retreat in Costa Rica. So much fun, so much fun. So bringing the healing together. From there, Spirit wanted to nudge us again, and it reminds me of what I say. When they said, what's your Britism? I'm like, you're only as strong as your self-talk. You are only as strong as your self-talk, and when you realize you're the only one beating you up, man, that's freedom. You're like, oh, it was me the whole time. But it's also permission to do something different. So I realized that if we're only as strong as our self-talk and we can do all these amazing things together, how do we get people to change? Like, how do we create lasting change where it really sticks? In 2006, I met my Aquarian partner, and it's been almost 18 years that we've always said, we're supposed to work together, and he tried hair, and that was not going to happen. And I dabbled in real estate, and, it's not really my favorite. And so this picture is an 18-year journey of being married to someone who's always looking for change and transformation. Chris and I were complete opposites. He's a private school boy, and I'm a country farm girl, which, y'all, it's been a long journey. But the one thing we had in common when we met was that we both had a deep desire for change and transformation. I had just said, I'm giving up on boys. It was I had already had 2 Chris's, so when I met him, I was like, you better be it, because I'm done. And I decided I'm going to focus on hair. I'm going to follow my passion and build my life. And then as soon as I started beauty school, Chris showed up in my MySpace DMs. We always knew we were supposed to work together. We're both Life Path 11, so Teachers of Radical Enlightenment. So over the last 10 years, we have founded the Elevated Life, where we teach every month these mental concepts, breath work, hypnosis, and yoga, so that we can help people transform from the inside out. It's not just enough to know the knowledge, but you have to make a deep subconscious change, as they mentioned earlier. So I decided I was going to share my secret weapon, the Aquarian, who refuses to get on social media. And I drug him out of his cave and started the Elevated Life. We have a podcast. We started a YouTube show back in 2015 when Facebook Live was just becoming popular. So Chris and I have been working together teaching these concepts on how to stop self-sabotage, how to do your own advanced self-hypnosis, how to attract love. We cover from success to spirituality. And from there, I realized that the women that were coming to my retreat were transforming. They were healing their lives, they were reclaiming their power, and it was incredible to watch. So the women asked Chris, how do I get my husband to do this? Can you please do a couples retreat? So again, Spirit asking me to surrender my identity and just try something new. And guess what? Guess who was resistant to this one? Me. It's like, men, are you sure they're going to be okay with their emotions? Are you sure we should do a couples retreat? Turns out the men are more criers than the women in that group. So I wasn't going to share this story, but someone came up to me and said, when you shared on Astro Mingle that you had a woman come to your goddess retreat and write down on a manifestation paper that she wanted to find love at her door. Can you pull that slide back up? That top right corner is her proposing to that love at our couples retreat. So when you get into rooms with powerful people and you set intentions and you open your heart, change is possible. So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take a moment to visualize your life, your dreams, your passions. I want you to imagine it as if you were able to transform your life as you know it. You were able to make a lasting impact and legacy, that you enjoy every day living in bliss and harmony with your soul purpose, that you allow satisfying relationships into your life and support. I want you to envision that version of you that you are stepping into now. That version of you, when you walk out these doors this weekend and you go back to your community and your home and your family, that you give yourself permission to step fully into your power. I want you to take a deep breath in and straighten your spine. I want you to anchor in this feeling that you have now, where you feel limitless, where you feel alive, where you feel capable, confident, and ready, that you know you're here for something bigger. I want you to imagine that version of yourself in your mind's eye now, just holding that vision. Sending that wave of relaxation from the top of your head all the way to the tips of your toes, letting your subconscious into the party. Know that you are here for something beautiful. Take a big, deep breath in, fill up your lungs, and whenever you're ready, you can sigh it out and open your eyes. So, I know that this was show and tell, so I had to make a whole new presentation for you because I'm usually used to just teaching. So I wanted to end with a little bit of framework so that you have, aside from 7 or above, and stop resisting the surrender, that you have a 4-step framework that you can use anytime you find yourself in that fear cycle. When you're self-doubting, that negative self-talk, again, we're only as strong as the story we tell ourselves. So when you start with that, I'm not good enough, or who am I to be this person, or who am I to heal the world, creates this sense of self-doubt, which leads to this feeling of lack of self-confidence, and it starts this negative spiral, and it's really hard to break and get out of. But I've come up with a 4-step solution so that you can easily remember how to get out of your own fucking way. Sound good? So this is the RISE method. I want you to turn your negative self-talk into unstoppable motivation. I remember when Chris asked me, he's like, an Aquarian, 10,000 years ahead. He's like, babe, do you talk to yourself? I was like, nope, never. No way. It's like years later, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so fat. While I was getting ready, I was like, oh, I talk to myself, and it's bad. I didn't even know. The fact that your awareness is the key to change. So the fact that you're aware you talk bad about yourself is the first step. So that's the R. Recognize. Recognize when you're in that fear cycle, when you're talking shit and going on that negative self-spiral. I is to interrupt. For me, I use the word cancel. As soon as I hear those negative stories every PMS, I'm like, cancel, girl, cancel. So I want you to think of a word or a symbol, maybe the stop sign, that helps you to interrupt. The S is to shift. This is to shift your focus from that negative story you tell yourself and rewire your synapses to create a new positive story. And let me tell you, for the first couple months, I was like, I am bullshitting myself. This doesn't feel right, because we're so used to talking mad shit to ourselves. The last one is to empower. This is to empower yourself by taking small aligned actions. So instead of just saying okay, I'm fat, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, we say cancel, I'm amazing, I'm beautiful. I want you to start to reframe those stories that you tell yourself. And when I was saying I'm beautiful, I'm creative, I'm inspiring, I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'm bullshitting myself. And today it just is. I don't feel any kind of way towards it because I've gone through this breaking the pattern over and over. So I want you to use the RISE method when you feel like you're stuck in that fear cycle. Now, I want to remind you, before I wrap up, that you're exactly where you're meant to be, that you are ready to uncover your authentic power and step into your purpose so that you can create a life that you love, that makes an impact. You don't have to try. That's the best part. If you just surrender, take the next aligned step, and it will all unfold. And I guarantee if you look at your journey, you probably believe that to be true. You're ready to break free of the fear that holds you back. So if you're telling yourself that it's not possible, or who am I to do this thing, and you're in this room, you're just kidding yourself, because you are the one. And the time is now. This is the absolute time that we are meant to transition and take the spotlight. It's your time to shine, right? Okay. I have a quick favor, because I know that I just went over my time, but could we have 2 extra minutes, or is that a hard no? Okay. I told them I was long-winded. I'm like, 30 minutes? I thought I'd just tell you my name. Oh my gosh. So what I realized in doing all of this work and building this community is that being in person is undeniable. It can change your life. One story, one hug, one smile, one conversation, one weird channeled message where you're like, how did you know that? It has the power to change your life. And so for me, hosting events has become the most important thing. So I wanted to share, and I put the postcards on your table. I, last year, just like Christopher, was inspired 90 days out to create the Summer Solstice, a women's wellness event that we do in McKinney, Texas. I literally had less than 90 days to whip this together, and even 1 month before, we had 4 signups. My husband and my team were like, babe, do you think we should just pull the plug? And I remember making a firm decision in that moment, and I said, no, Spirit has asked me to do this, and I'm not going to succumb to fear. And we sold it out. We had the most incredible time, but it all happened in the last 30 days. I'm sure the Serious Joy team understands how that happens. You really have to trust the Spirit thing. So I want to share on the next slide a 2-minute video of what you can expect when you come into the room where you have like-minded people wanting to heal together. We're experiencing it right now. So if you want to keep this party going, come join us in June up in McKinney. Well, it's not as effective when there's no audio, y'all. Just make it up. Yeah, can we get someone singing? You guys are amazing. I almost made it through the whole presentation without any technical glitches. Come on. Well, as you can see, this is the event that we put together. I wanted to bring the Lightworkers and the leaders and the healers together and give back to them so that they could have a day of pampering and play, because we're always pouring our love and our energy into everyone else. So I created this epic event where we take time to heal our mind, our body, our soul, and connect with community so that we know we're not alone on this journey. I bring local vendors in, chiropractors, service providers, so that I can shine a light, like Gary was talking about. Once you've come to a position where you are of influence, then you can use that power for good. And now it's about shining lights on amazing companies and businesses and entrepreneurs, self-based businesses, and shining a light on what your talents and your skills are. So I share this because community is everything. We cannot do this alone, and I feel so blessed to be in this room with each and every one of you who are contributing your creative magic, your talents, your skills. We absolutely need you. So thank you so much for all of the contribution, the healing, the love, the creativity that you pour into the world. It's because of you that we're able to make these things happen. I mean, we can say hypnosis and psychic now, okay? Things have changed. People used to give me the dirty eye when I would say those things. Burning the bullshit and letting it all go. And that's so fun. So I share this because we've got this event coming up in June, and if you are looking to put yourself in a room with other amazing people, then I invite you to come join us. I want us to be friends, so follow me on social media at The World by Brit, and also to let you know, my account of 30,000 was deleted and hacked. Had to start over, so please come follow me. And I just want to say one more time, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. You guys are going to light up the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, you don't need that.
Whoa. Oh, there we are. That was so inspirational. Who resonated with everything she said? Top of my list, get rid of toxic clients. Check, got it. That's the note I took. That was amazing. Thank you so much, Brittany.